Excuse me. Sorry. Should my camera come down at all? Sorry, I know we're all situated. Because with the thing on the bottom, just a little. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There. Stop. Because with the thing on the bottom, it covers up what I didn't want covered before. Or what I wanted covered. Thank you.
No, we're not. Oh, I did roll live. Oops.
Hi, everyone.
We're live.
That was a good start to the night. All right. Sorry. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the We the Locals podcast. My name is Josie.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Stuart.
And we thank you so much for joining us tonight. Sorry about that. We didn't know Stu.
I hit the wrong button.
Tell us that we were live and we were doing last minute camera adjustments and having our last little giggle before we started. So anyway, sorry about that. Thank you for joining us tonight.
You can tell we're live.
Yeah,
and in charge.
Live.
Right?
See, that's right. We don't want it to look too polished because we want you to
That's
believe that
right.
we're live.
That's
So
right.
there we are. So if you could please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to this episode as well as our channel. We would greatly appreciate it if you would like to support us. So we're going to be completely honest, as we have said before, but we're going to be a little more raw. So we are self-funded and through either sponsorships, donations, or just our own self-funding. And so we are hitting some rock bottom on that funding. And so if you...
We have drained the coffers.
We've drained the coffers. So if you like our content and you would like to support us and keep our lights on, we would greatly appreciate any donation that you could give us, whether it be a donation or a sponsorship. So if you're a business or a candidate and you would like to do a more structured sponsorship spot, we have those options available on our website. Or if you would just like to donate to us, just to kind of keep in mind, it costs us about a minimum of $250 a month to keep our lights on. And then not on top of that are things like website and making sure all of our cards are up to date and licenses and all the things that we need, the little things here and there. So if you would like to keep our lights on, our pretty lights, then please consider a donation to the cause. And you can do that on our website, or you can do it through a Rumble Rant or Super Chat. Website's probably the easiest. Obviously, we like to hear from you. So if you'd like to tie it with a comment or a question, that's even better. So you can check out all of our sponsorship opportunities or donations on our website, which is WeTheLocalsPodcast.com.
That's right, Josie. Good job.
Thanks. Because they're a little bit different on different handles, and Jessica always does the closing, so she always knows them better than me. And I'm like, I know them.
I have to read them.
I type them in, so it just pops up on my computer, so I don't have to remember it. Okay. We want to give a special shout out to the JCRC, the Judeo-Christian Republican Club. They had us last night as their guests, and it was a phenomenal evening. We talked about local politics. We talked about why local. We talked about how to vet candidates. We talked about some local races to watch. It was a lot of fun. We got some good questions.
I loved how engaged the audience was.
The audience was very
really
engaged.
tuned in.
Mm-hmm.
They were really watching.
Yes.
They were really paying attention. And that gets me really excited for the 2026 cycle.
It is. It was very good. And so if you have not checked out that club, it is definitely one to go to. It's been around for a long time. It's very well established. And so the Judeo-Christian Republican Club, they meet the third Wednesday of the month at South County Civic Center. And if you want more information, we'd be happy to get it to you at 6 o'clock. Also, if you decide you would like to donate to, I almost said to the campaign, to the podcast, and you donate anything over $100 and would like us to, we will give you a special by name shout out a couple of times during the show. So keep that in mind. I think those are all the announcements for tonight. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
Stu, did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
I'm just kidding. I like to give Stu a hard time. It's fun. All right.
I like it when you give Stu a hard time.
Yeah, exactly. So it's highly entertaining for all of us, especially me. All right. So we've got a few things we want to cover tonight. Jessica, you want to give any updates or news or anything before we jump into some of the stuff?
I just want to remind everybody that James O'Keefe is coming to town, and we are doing for the Palm Beach Federated Republican Women's Club. You can watch his movie Line in the Sand, and then he's going to do live questions and answers afterwards. So it's an opportunity to meet James O'Keefe and watch the movie, support our new club that is working towards getting good Republicans in office, and everything that we're doing there. So a huge shout out for that. You can check us out on Eventbrite. Any of our stuff is PBFRW on Facebook for those links, and I'll try to remember to put it on our Facebook and Twitter here this evening or tomorrow to shout that out. But there are tickets remaining, so please be sure. It is at the Norton, so this is a very high-end event.
Fancy.
So it's not quite Mar-a-Lago, but it's
still Palm Beach.
It's still Palm Beach. It's still a great opportunity, and support helps us have the ability to support local Republicans. So please check that out. Trying to think. It's budget season.
I was about to say budget season. Don't forget.
Yep. So
it's getting late to start squawking.
Yep.
His budget's passed
you can't
by
squawk no more.
No, just watch.
You've got to watch and then see what the final millage rates
I mean, you can
are
squawk. It just won't do anything.
And how the final budgets, actually is what I should say, comes out. And then, pay attention. And then if there's things you don't like, make notes. And then put those forth next year. Come February, March, April are the times that you can say, hey, this was in last year's budget. Maybe you should take a look and do something different. This is very important of doing like during public comments in your cities or the county. It's a big deal. Doge has come.
I just wrote Doge down. To talk about Doge is coming to Palm Beach County.
So Doge has come. I did listen to the City of Boynton Beach City Commission meeting, which was last Tuesday, and they said that they turned all of their documents and everything to Doge within 5 days. So they are looking to be very transparent and are very looking forward to Doge coming or reviewing all of their documents and seeing where they can make some efficiency changes and things of that nature. So it's going to be very interesting how the cities and around the county comply with what Doge is asking. So the big thing with Doge is everybody says like our property evaluations have increased, which has increased our budgets, and so they want to make sure that the cities are being fiscally responsible. So I think it's going to be very interesting when it comes to Palm Beach County, because I've looked through that budget. I've looked through that line item budget, and it's very interesting. A lot of people don't understand the pass-through money that makes up a big portion of our budget. So our ad valorem taxes in Palm Beach County is less than 24%. And so then when you look at homesteaded properties, it's minuscule of that 24%. And we have over $500 billion of property value. And there's a lot of people, so that's, I think when I looked, if I remember right, correct me if I'm wrong, $547 billion.
You're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea.
Values. It's over $500 billion. I think it was $547 billion was on the tax rolls of the latest things that are right on the property appraiser website that you can find and you can look for yourself. And then everybody wants to complain about the sheriff's budget. That he's looking at $1.1 billion.
Gosh. That's so much money when you say it.
It's a lot of money. And everybody's like, it's a lot of money. But if we have $547 billion in property value, $1 billion is like 0.002%.
That's crazy.
So it's minuscule. And so, you have to look at the whole big picture. And then we have a president of the United States residence here.
Yes.
That, our PBSO helps protect the president when he's
yes.
here.
And by the way, they get reimbursement at some point again, but that's part of their budget.
Correct.
Is the pass-through money. It goes. They get it from the Secret Service, but that's still part of the budgeting
It increases
process.
our
It
budget.
increases our budget. Yeah.
And so a lot of people don't understand, like if Lake Clark Shores needs $100,000 for, some type of infrastructure repair, that goes through our county dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So that increases our budget by $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you got to kind of look at the whole picture, and you have to really understand how the money goes through. And so we have very interesting news when it comes to money, because we have a new clerk and comptroller
Yes.
in Palm Beach County.
So if you all remember, a little backstory, Virginia Baker was the county administrator. She has retired. She retired as of May. And so there was a whole process by which, actually, did we talk about this? Because I think it happened while we were on break, didn't it?
No, we talked about it before we
No,
went
but
on
did we
break.
talk about who got it?
I don't know if I think we did. I think it was
I'd
just
have to look.
before.
It might have been just before. So anyway,
Yeah.
there was a whole process that was a very public process that went through for the county commissioners to hire and appoint and hire the new county administrator. And one of the people that threw his hat in the ring was Joe Abruzzo, who was our clerk and comptroller, who was reelected to that position back in 2024, so last year. And so he got the job, so he is now the new county administrator, and so that opens up his seat. So since this is a constitutional office that is a 4-year term, and it is more than half of the term, instead of calling for a special election, there's an appointment until the midterm, which is 2026. So Governor DeSantis appointed Representative Mike Caruso,
who was State House 87.
Does that trigger a special election in his district?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, my
Yes.
brain just connected those things.
Yes. And so I don't know if it was Abruzzo or if it was Caruso came out and asked the governor to set it up for the same as District 90 to save the taxpayers money. Because
Yes.
if they prolong that, then it's there was a public records request, and I believe it was $667,000 that it's going to cost us for this special election or the primary for District 90. And so that's a big expense, that again raises the SOE budget, just so everybody's clear.
And because it's a state office, they have to have early voting. So there has to be 2 weeks of early voting, and that's why.
Yeah. So
that's where the cost is the early voting cost. And
Right.
then, of course, the vote by mails.
Right. So it's over $600,000 to run the primary. So
Right now there's only a Republican primary.
Correct. And so when and I can't remember who said it, but one of them, either Abruzzo or Caruso, asked for it to be the same date. So it's September 30th is the primary, and it's December.
Can you look that up?
I think it's
going back and
December,
forth.
December 13th, if I'm not
No,
mistaken.
it's not that late.
No,
I'm pretty sure it's the first week in December.
No, it's December 9th.
The 9th. Neither of us were right.
It was a 3, though. I was like,
It was a multiple of 3.
Right.
Last night, Jessica and I were like, is it the 3rd? Is
or
it the
6th?
6th? It's
It's
the
the
9th.
9th.
Add them together, and what do you got? The answer. So, okay.
We don't claim to be perfect on
No.
this show.
No, not at all. Not even close. Obviously, because even though I've known that Caruso got appointed to the seat for a few days now, I literally did not make the connection that would trigger a special election. It's district until just now.
So, I'll actually look up right now. So if you want to.
Okay, yeah, I'll chat for a second. So, because I was going to say, so Caruso gets appointed to that seat. It goes to special elections. So he's in District 87. And then he will be on the ballot. That seat will be on the ballot in November of 2026 for the rest of the term. So that, again, is normally a 4-year term, but because it was the switch was made so early in the term, it's an appointment until the next general election. So he will be on the ballot if he chooses to run for election, because he's not really running for re-election. He's running for election because he's being appointed to the job. He will run in November of 2026. And that will be a 2-year term until 2028 when that seat is back on the ballot again for the 4-year general term. So already within the last couple of days, there's been a shakeup in that race in the clerk and comptroller because Yvette Drucker, who is currently the Boca City Councilwoman, who was, if you all remember, we talked about this in the last episode, was planning to run, had already filed the paperwork, the first round of paperwork, to run for State House District 26. State Senate District 26. Blah, 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 blah. District 26 against a Democrat, and we were going to be very interested to watch how they run a primary because a lot of times Democrats don't run primaries, and here we go. This is how the Democrats do things. They went, nope, you're not running in that primary. You're running over here in the clerk and comptroller. I mean, I don't know if someone told her to do that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying interesting how that works out, how suddenly nobody has a primary. They all just find a spot to run in. So she is running for clerk and comptroller, which will be very interesting because it's a very unique job in that it has to do with courts and understanding how court systems work and understanding finances because they're the ones who also handle a lot of the investment portfolio and things like that for the county. So I'll be very.
They have a lot to do with the budget.
They have a lot. They have a lot to do with the budget. So we'll see. We'll see how that shapes out. So Caruso is a CPA. He's not an attorney, is he?
No, and he's not. I mean, he's a CPA, yes, but he's also a forensic auditor and an accountant.
So he's going to be eyeing those numbers very, very closely. So he's going to bring a lot to the table, I think, for clerk and comptroller.
And I thought it was very interesting because it did come out that he is the only Republican to ever hold that seat.
Oh,
in the county.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's going to be very interesting how that comes apart or how that comes together. And Abruzzo was very supportive of Caruso in that seat
I
think
Abruzzo strikes me as, I know he's a Democrat, and I know probably in the more
I don't know if
partisan
that's by
politics.
choice.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's by choice. He kind of struck me in the way he spoke about. I would say he's definitely fiscally conservative.
I mean,
he might not be socially,
were rumors, and they were just rumors. I don't know if there was any truth to it, but
we like rumors.
Yeah, but there were definitely rumors at the beginning of the year that after his election in 2024, it was rumored that he was going to change his party affiliation to Republican.
Oh, I didn't know that rumor.
Yeah, so and he was seen at a lot of Republican events at the beginning of the year.
Like I've heard him speak several times, and he always like I said, he speaks and he talks about the money, and he talks about things, and he's very fiscally conservative.
And he's very pro-Israel.
He's very pro-Israel. Yeah, he did a lot of Israeli bonds, which made the county crap ton of money.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's very pro-Israel, which I know Caruso will be as well. Caruso's probably going to maintain a lot of what Abruzzo has done. I don't see him coming in and doing a lot of shaking up because Abruzzo's done a good job.
Yeah, and Abruzzo put the budget online. So it's on the.
He brought the clerk's office up to the 21st century, the second decade of the 21st century, pretty quickly.
You can file like a lot of your notice of commencements and stuff online, where that used to be a pain. So he's he definitely really helped the clerk's office, and very transparent. And you can do a lot of things online. You can ask questions. There's like things in the offices of the clerk and comptroller now where it like helps walk you through, like if you do have a civil complaint and you want to sue somebody, like there's a lot of like they've streamlined the process and made it easier, so that you're not bogged down by the court system, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah,
that he was able to do that.
I think he did a good job. So will be something we watch. We'll see what happens as it goes forward, both the race for clerk and comptroller in 2026, but more closely is the District 87, the House District. So that was already a race that we were watching. It was already shaping up to be an interesting one because we have 3 Republicans running for the primary in District 87. So yeah.
And just to kind of go back to District 90, yes, the special election is September 30th, the primary election is September 30th. The special election for the general is December 9th.
Okay. And
candidates seeking to qualify by petition only need 269 signatures.
Interesting.
So if they do if they do qualify as a party participant, the fee is
Ooh, it went up.
$1,781.82, and a no party affiliation is $1,187.88.
I wonder why it's so much cheaper for a non-party affiliation.
Because I think that they would rather have non-party people run. I'm just joking. I don't know.
Yeah, that's not many petitions. Highly recommend if you're a candidate that's planning to run this, get those petitions. That's not that many.
Yeah, that's not that many at all. Save yourself the couple $1,000. You can definitely, the $1,100, I should say.
I mean, because normally for regular cycle for that seat, it's about 1,200 petitions.
Yeah.
So that's a lot more than 220.
Most people just pay the fee.
You pay the fee. 1,200 petitions is a lot because it has to be someone, a registered voter in your district.
Yeah.
So you have to be very specific, and you have to pay. It also is not free either because you still have to pay to verify every one of those signatures. So it's cheaper because you're only paying a few cents per verification, but still, that adds up. Yeah. So the District 87. So in 87, does it show already on the 87 lines, the filing or anything?
No.
So previously, because Caruso was termed out, so there was already people filing for that job for the 26th cycle. So if the same people that filed for that switch over and file for the special one, we had 3 Republicans. We have Tracy Caruso, which is Mike Caruso's wife, who has actually been on our show before. She was a guest host one time, and back in the day. Yeah, I can say back in the day. We were on our 51st episode here. She was, I think, a couple years ago. She was on, or a year or so. That was a fun episode. We had a good time with her. You can check it out in our archives. And then you have Gretchen, right? Gretchen Fang. Gretchen Fang, which I don't know why I said Ginger. Gretchen Fang and John Maples, who is a current
Lake
Clark Shores commissioner. So,
and then there is one Dem in that race, Emily Watson Gregory.
Isn't that the same one who ran against Caruso last time?
Oh, I don't know.
That name sounds familiar.
Maybe.
Could be. Yeah. So it's going to be an interesting. So if all 3 of those people, so just because they filed to run for 26 does not mean they're filing to run for this one here in the special. I'm sure we'll know by next time, by our next episode, what that playing field looks like a little more. Because if the election, when is the primary? You said September 30th. September 30th. So the vote by mail ballots will start going out soon. Like really soon.
Yeah, because what is it?
They usually go out 6 weeks before. Yeah. So we're already at 6 weeks before. We're mid-August. That's mid-August.
Yeah, so it would be hard if they might be able.
They can't go out till after qualifying. What's the qualifying deadline?
The qualifying, I think, was the 14th.
But if that means, can they add 87 if the qualifying is already passed?
They could do special qualifying and then tighten the qualifying to the. I don't think that there's a particular time between qualifying and the primary.
No, I think they can set it.
Right, exactly. So that could be, any time.
Tomorrow.
And it could be because of the fact that they may be willing to do it because those candidates are kind of already been set, they've already filed, it's already been.
The first, there's people already showing interest in filing for that race.
Right. For the election for 2026. So, and this is how the politics are played, right? So if DeSantis wants a certain people in the race, like what happened with Mac Bernard's seat when he went into Senate, they did the qualifying. They shortened the qualifying. It was only 10 days.
It was very short, yeah.
It was very, very short. So they shortened up the qualifying date to be able to make it that nobody really ran against him to take Bobby
Nobody
Powell.
got their stuff together.
Correct. So so I would see something like that happening here. You
better decide soon because those vote by mail ballots are going to start dropping.
Right. So we'll see. I'm sure any day we'll probably get an announcement.
Keep your eye on the news.
Yep.
What is it? Florida Politics?
Florida Politics.
Florida Politics. That's usually where you can find stuff. Or us. We try to repost things if we're on it on our X things. Right. We try. If you follow us, then we'll post more.
Right. That helps.
It's a two-way street here. Engagement helps us post more. Engage with us. Show us you're listening, and we will listen, and we will speak, and listen. Yeah, so that is going to be interesting. I'm kind of like interested to watch how that all is going to play out. And then in District 90, I think we went over these candidates last time, but we'll do a quick reminder that have filed for the special election. On the Democrat side, you've got Rob Long. On the Republican side, you have Bill Reicheter and Maria Zacks. And then there's an independent.
Yep. Hold, please.
Hold, please. Hold. Hold. Okay, hold your camera and my camera. Hold.
Karen, yeah. Y-E-A.
Karen, yeah. Did she file for the special also?
Yeah, this is the special.
Oh, that's the special.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's filed for the special, and then Bill Reicheter and Maria Zacks.
Yes.
Okay. And Rob Long.
And Rob Long. Yeah.
Rob Long. Okay, so who is a current Delray Beach City Commissioner? He has to resign, but his seat was up for re-election already, right? So they're not going to hold anything special. They'll just wait until March for that seat to be filled.
Probably, yes.
Because there's just, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't think, when does he have to resign?
When does the term start? The term is going to start very quickly, because if it's December 9th, then they have to go up for,
it starts immediately.
It starts immediately.
Upon election, because it's a vacant seat.
Yeah, so he would have to resign. So I mean, I don't know the Delray Beach charter, but I'm guessing if it's only less than 3 months, they're not going to appoint anyone.
Yeah, I doubt
because the election's in March.
Yeah. So, and I haven't heard of anybody running in the city of Delray yet either.
There is. I was looking at it the other day. I went down a rabbit hole.
Oh.
Of news, local news, because I was reading stuff about Boca, and then it feeds into it's the Boca magazine does stuff on Delray as well. So, if you want to pull that up, they have it. Which is actually a good segue. I'll talk a little bit about the Save Boca stuff and Boca things that are happening in Boca. So I personally strive in my life to try to be as informed as possible. And then if I realize that I'm informed about something, but I don't have enough all the information and I've made a snap decision, that I go back and review it and say, I might have been wrong, because I think that's important. I'm never the person who knows all the things. So I want to preface this by saying I still do not support the downtown development happening in the downtown. I see why people want it. I do understand the concepts behind it of having getting all of our needed things in the city, our city hall, our city what's it called, community center, our police station, all of that renovated to be beautiful and up to date, because it absolutely needs to happen. But my biggest frustration, as we've talked about many times, is that the city council didn't plan for that 10 years ago when they should have, or 15 years ago when they should have been setting the money aside for that. So I still don't think that this is the way it should be done. But the Save Boca movement altogether, I get it, and I still understand where they're coming from as well, but I found out some more information that made me go, that's an interesting thought. So the two things and I think I talked about this last time, that they want to do is stop the development of the downtown, and then the other thing is they want to change the city charter so that any time the city would like to do any type of lease agreement or process for public land, that it would have to go to a referendum on a ballot. And in theory, I really like that idea, because I do think the people should have a say on it. But in practice, I think it would actually cause a lot of problems for the city. Because number one, we have a representative government. We are not a direct democracy in our functioning of a people here in the United States. And part of the process that we have set in place in order to not have mob rule is for us
We don't have mob rule?
Well, we're not supposed to. We're not supposed to have mob rule.
Oh,
I mean, in some areas, it's becoming more and more mobbish. But in theory...
Feels like the REC is a bit mobbish.
That's why I said some areas. Jessica said it, not me. Jessica said it, not me.
Oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud?
That's what I was alluding to, so yes. But when it comes to our government, we are supposed to be informed residents, informed voters, elect people who are going to hold the values that we want for the city's county government, whatever it may be. And so their job is to then know all of the information and make educated decisions on behalf of the people that are for the betterment of the people. And if we don't get that with our electeds, we need to hold them accountable, not necessarily wrench the power away from them and take it on ourselves and become mob rule. And that's my concern with this Save Boca thing, because what that would do is it would take the power away from the government, city government that we've elected, by the way, to do these things, to execute these things, because supposedly we trust the government, our city, the people that we've elected to execute the things that we want executed in our city. And if we wrench that power away, it becomes mob rule. And then you have a bunch of people who don't have enough information, because most people don't have enough information. Most people don't read agendas. Most people don't know zoning laws. And I'm not saying these are bad things, and this is shame on you for I don't know all these things. I'm saying most of us don't, because that's not our job. This is the city council's job, is to know these things. And if they're not doing it, we hold them accountable by talking to them, by speaking to them, by voting them out, by calling them out. You hold petitions accountable. I took a class right before COVID. It was very useful. Right before COVID, on how to hold on what to do. I actually kind of forgot about this. What was it called? I don't remember what it was called. And it was about holding politicians accountable and how to do that. And they need to be held. They get held accountable in 2 ways: with their money, so you withdraw donations, and at the voting box. And so when they feel threatened, either their donation income is threatened or their position is threatened, they will listen. And that is what that's the system that our forefathers set up in place, all the way from the federal government all the way down to city council.
Don't we hold them accountable by going and screaming in city council and commission meetings and scream in their face and say, you work for me and you're supposed to do what I tell you to?
That's what people have run with, but that's really not effective. It's not effective. In case anyone hasn't seen, it's not effective. What is effective is by understanding what our responsibility is as residents and as voters, as citizens, and what their responsibility is as the electeds. And so when we take that power away from them, like we would in this, it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
It's not going to go good. And here's an example that I came to understand this week. So we got a new school in the city a couple of years ago. It's called Blue Lake Elementary. It's my kids don't go to there, but I have friends' kids who are in there. It's an amazing school, beautiful, state of the art, great school. And so what happened was the school board of Palm Beach County came to this. We're looking for a place to put a new school. They looked at all the numbers, and then they looked at land, and they came to the city of Boca, and they said, we want to put a school here, an elementary school. Do you guys need one? And you're like, absolutely, yes, we need an elementary school. Our schools are overcrowded. And so they said, do you have land? And they said, actually, we do. Here's a spot. You can take it. And the school board was like, we need to move. We are looking in a couple other spots. Can we make this happen? And they were like, yes, let's go. Here's the land. Here's the surveyors. Here's the zoning. All worked out. Boom, signed, done. If this referendum passes and it becomes part of the charter, then that would have to go to a ballot initiative by the voters, which would cost us a lot of money. Every one of those elections, like, for example, we know when we did the Vote No initiative, that was $250,000 to do that election. So it'll cost the city probably around that every time one of these things comes up, for the city to execute any type of lease. And we wouldn't have got the school, because the school board would have been like, we're out, because Wendy Link, or whoever the supervisor of elections is at the time, is unlikely to call an election just for a referendum. They do it in March, in March, August, and November, unless it's like a state election, like a seat or something like that. But for a referendum, they're not going to call it. And so we would lose out on a lot of things, like leases for art galleries, or the art museum has leases with the city of Boca. So if those need to be renewed, those would have to community organizations that lease things from the city of Boca would have to go to referendum. So a lot of these things would actually cause a disruption in services and amenities in the city, and it would and people already in the city of Boca don't come out to vote. We have 100,000 residents, maybe 60,000 registered voters. On a good year, we get maybe 12,000 that come out and vote for city council and mayor. So people are not going to turn out on a random Tuesday in July to vote for on a piece of property in an area of the city that they know nothing about.
Well, actually, and then is what it could do is it could cause a lot of mayhem because they could push things through without really educating the public
Oh
on it.
yeah, then
Because-
it becomes whoever. It's like when it was like the amendments last
Yes.
year when it was we were getting all like what $90 million poured into the state from other areas to try to get marijuana passed in our state.
Yep.
So anybody who has the money and the effort to try to sway the voters is going to do that, and it becomes again mob rule and a free for all and not actually good governance. So all that to say, I think that, again, I think the heart of behind it is important. We don't want our city lands to be completely like paved over.
Is there any stopping this now, or is
Oh
it
yeah,
kind of
this
like
is not what stop the Save Boca or stop the build.
the build?
Yeah, so that's the other thing. Everyone keeps saying, I keep seeing it all over social media. It is not a done deal. It's not
Okay.
a done deal. What has happened, and I'll bring everyone up to date specifically. What has happened is that there has been they came with two proposals, two companies. They put an RFP out for two companies, or however many to come. They picked between two to give a proposal of what they would do if they got the lease or got the job. The city council voted 4-1. One of them was a very heavy development. It was over 1 million square feet of commercial space, many, many more condos, very much more heavy on the development side. Excuse me. And the other was a lot more green space, a lot less development. And so they voted 4-1. Councilman Thompson was the one that voted for the more heavy development. So even though he's going around tonight telling people that he is anti this development, he voted for the heavier one. And then, so they voted to see the proposal and enter into what's called an interim agreement with the one that has less. It's Tara Frisbee. Tara Frisbee. And so it's an interim agreement in order to keep the conversation open. So the way city politics works, the way it works is they can't discuss any of this unless there's some type of interim agreement, because it can't go on an agenda. It has to be something for them to be on an agenda item for the people then to come forward and talk about. So because they did the interim agreement, it is now on the agenda every council meeting. So if you want to talk about this, you can go and do that. So it's actually giving a voice for like what you want to see happen with this piece of land. If they hadn't entered into an interim agreement, things would be happening behind doors and it would be a lot more shady. So they're actually doing it pretty upfront as far as that goes. There might be other shady stuff going on. I'm not saying there's not. I'm just saying in this way, it is on the agenda. If you live in the city of Boca and you get the agendas, make sure you're getting this on the agenda. So no, it's not a done deal. Likely, I've heard through the grapevine, they're still in process. It could go to a vote in October. It could be November. It could be January. We don't know. So no, it's not a done deal.
So wouldn't it be more ideal if they really wanted the people to be heard, that they would wait until after the municipals?
I think so. I think that would be wise. I think they should table it until after that. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And I think that they should listen to what the people want. But here's the problem. So I can see both sides of it, because there's been so much development in the city, and there has been a history of the council not really listening to the residents. People are knee-jerk reacting to this. They're like, that's it. We've had enough. In Hebrew, you would say, chalas, enough. We're done. Up to here. And that's what's happening right now, is people are just done. They're done with the cranes. They're done with downtown development that hasn't been finished. I mean, we still have the Mandarin on Federal Highway I've lived in the city limits. I've lived outside the city, but I lived in the area for a long time. But I've lived in the city limits since 2018. It still looks the same as it did in 2018. There might be like one more floor or two more floors. So we're talking like 7 years. So people are like, we see this, and yet you want to build more. And so people, again, we don't know. This is not our job. We're not eating, drinking, living, breathing zoning laws and development and processes and all of these things. So no, we might not have we don't know what's happening with the Mandarin. We just, as residents, are like, what the freak is happening? Why are you building more? And so I think that that's what's come to. And people people have a healthy distrust of the government. I do think you shouldn't trust that they're just willy-nilly, just trust them willy-nilly. But there needs to be some good faith in the conversations that need to happen, and say, hey, what else could we do here? Where are we in the process? How could we stop this? How could we change this? Would you? And then again, if they choose not to listen, then we can, tar and feather them. And I realize that them going forward with this is
in a matter of speaking.
Don't physically tar and feather them. I mean, although I'm not related specifically to this in Boca, but overall in the country, if our forefathers were here, just be stacking bodies right now. I mean, let me just say, and that's not my phrase. Someone else said that. So. Anyway, I know that was like a long soliloquy, but I wanted to kind of give, because I know, like I said before, I'm very hesitant about this development for sure, and I was all like very up much like the Save Boca movement, and I'm not saying anything, against them specifically. I'm saying we need to not be caught up in the emotion of being frustrated about things and actually look at the layer below.
Yeah.
And I didn't do that last time when I talked about this, and so I'm sorry, and I will do better at looking at the deeper layers. And so I'm looking at the deeper layers now. I'm peeling it like an onion.
Well, I mean, this is what we talked about at the JCRC last night, too, is that we have to understand when we elect our representatives, no matter what level, is that we have to give them a level of trust and a level of understanding that they that they know more information than we do. And, sometimes that information isn't necessarily up front, center, and clear. So we have to be very aware and ask questions to be able to understand where they're coming from. So if they're doing things or making decisions that we don't like, is that we need to ask questions and not necessarily go straight to tar and feathering.
And that is I think, especially since COVID, that has definitely become our MO. And that's definitely become our MO, and it needs to I don't know why my camera's blurry. Daniel's texting me.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel. Is it blurry? Is anyone else? Can anyone else say if it's blurry or not? My camera's blurry.
It is a little bit, actually. It's not as noticeable. It's not that noticeable.
Just kidding.
It's just a little bit.
Jessica's has been blurry a few times, and we never realized it until after the episode. So now mine's.
Well, that's the live camera. On here there's a delay, so it looks good on there.
That's what we're going off. It's fine, Stu. All right.
So, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it. It's fine. I'm just a little blurry.
I was blurry like 10 episodes, and nobody
said anything. You'll just have to listen to the sound of my voice and not look at my face. Thanks, Stu.
Sassy Gal says it looks great from here.
Thank you. So as I say,
shout out to Sassy Gal too, because she's the one that gives us all of our data and gives us lots of information.
It's Daniel's fault. It's Daniel's phone. It's only you, Daniel.
Clean your screen.
Clean your screen. If you are just joining us and this is your first time with us, definitely go back and watch our last episode with Daniel Zapata. We had a great time. He was a great guest. I don't even feel like he was a guest. I feel like he was kind of like a co-host.
I know. I'm like we've got to have him back on.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely have him back on. So shout out Daniel. Thank you so much for joining us last time. But if you are new and you missed that, or you were not new but you missed that episode, please go back and watch it. It was a lot of fun for us, and we hope you guys enjoyed watching it with us, or enjoyed watching it as well. But yes, I think since COVID, especially in the Republican Party, but even still, I feel like overall people just have a much stronger distrust of the government, which again, I'm not advocating for you to trust the government, like
not in any way,
and if you get that from this, then you do not know me at all. And that being said, I think that we need to not go with government is distrustful in the people, especially when it comes to city and county, because they are close to us. Especially when it comes to city and county, because they are the closest to us, and they should be listening to us the most. And if they're not, then you can rally and get them out.
If you email or call your city commissioner or your county commissioner and they don't respond, you need to communicate with your party, with your local, with your local party reps, to find out why they're not getting, why they're not responding to you. So that's why we have a party system. It's up to the party to kind of hold the representative,
which only works if the party embraces the people that they elect.
Correct.
So what's happened in the Republican Party over the last year or two is we worked hard to get Republicans elected, and then we turned on them.
Yeah.
Screaming at them at meetings and treating them like dirt. Like it got bad. Censoring them, doing all kinds of stuff. Now, I'm not saying they don't deserve anybody. I'm not saying specifically these people.
They deserve scrutiny. They deserve questioning.
But they also deserve respect and like
Correct.
courtesy of just having a conversation with someone and trying and us, not just because they got elected doesn't mean they've turned into an evil thing, and we need to give them an opportunity to speak.
And on that, and I want to make a point too, is that once they get elected, it is not their job to help others get elected.
No,
I don't want them doing that.
No.
I want them focusing on their job, not focusing on getting other Republicans elected. That's our job.
That's our job.
That's
that's
our
a very
job.
good point.
You know, our job is to make sure that we get our Republicans in office by having good arguments and having good candidates that actually are electable, that, you know, are able to win. And it's not other Republicans' responsibility that are in office to get other Republicans elected.
Correct.
I don't want that. I don't want.
I don't like it. I don't think Republicans should be endorsing. I don't like it. I think publicly elected officials should not be endorsing. That bit me in the tush when I was running for office. I wouldn't. It's not that this vote changed anything, but I wonder how many people's minds it did change. So the day of I ran for those that are new, I ran for city council in Boca in 2021. It was a 3-way race, technically 4, but really 3. And
PK?
it was technically 4, but it was only really like the fourth guy got like 150 votes. So, and I somehow managed to convince about 1,100 people to vote for me, which was quite the shocker for me, considering I didn't really know that many people or really had that ability to campaign because it was COVID. Anyway, that's not the point of the story. Point of the story is, I just lost the train. Point of the story.
That somebody came out and endorsed your opponent.
That's correct. So the mayor of my city, who was a registered Republican, came out from his private email, but I'm pretty sure he used his mailing list from I don't know where he got that mailing list from. Questions we have, and sent out an email the morning of the election telling everybody that the person he preferred to work with was my opponent, who was the Democrat in the race. I was up against another Republican. I'm pretty sure Bernie's an NPA. And so an NPA, a Democrat, and a Republican, and he supported the Democrat.
He has supported the Democrat in every race.
Every race. Except for.
But he's supposed to be a Republican.
Anywho.
The REC would have him out on a rail.
They would be like crucifying him. Sorry.
I'm not.
No, I shouldn't have said that.
Too late.
I know. Crap. Point being is this guy walks out of the polling site on the day of the election. I'm standing there campaigning, waving my sign, and he walks up to me and goes, "Oh, I just voted for your opponent because the mayor sent me an email telling me I should."
Yeah.
So I personally do not think, and I was like, "Bro, do you have any idea how government works?"
I think as far as endorsements go, the only things that are like valuable are like fire, police. I think those ones are a little bit.
I think they are, but I honestly don't know how influential they really are.
I think they just carry a little bit more weight, and it depends on the office.
It depends on the office, right?
It definitely depends on the office. And so, you know, and still, like if there's conservative groups that you follow, you know, or, you know, groups in general, and then they endorse, like, you may carry a little bit more
different.
weight.
But elected officials, I don't think should be
exactly.
endorsing. I think, there's nothing we can do
Clubs,
to change that.
Coalitions, things of that nature are the ones that are supposed to be vetting the candidates, putting them up on an even scale, and then weighting them accordingly and giving their membership an idea and an overview of what they best fit their views.
Correct.
Now, a lot of times, a lot of people don't understand is with fire and police, they usually always go for the incumbent because they don't want to lose.
If the incumbent supported them. If that's when they'll flip. If the incumbent voted against them in any way whatsoever,
correct,
they will go against them and they will work hard against them.
But
So,
the majority of it is that they usually go with
the Chamber of Commerce often does that as well.
Yeah.
Not always,
Yeah.
but they will often. They're a little more variable. They will go with they'll go with the better business person because they're the Chamber of Commerce, but
So
oftentimes it is the person.
I just think
the
it's
incumbent.
silly that you're counting on other Republicans in office to help other
Yeah, that's the original
Republicans
point of this conversation. This thread of this stream of conscience.
to get when it's our job. It's the candidate's job to have a good argument and a good platform to get elected,
and their job to communicate that to us as the Republicans to then
and volunteers
to
be
go
able
out
to
and
then,
articulate it.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think some people just kind of don't understand, and that it makes it, it don't put so much pressure on our already elected officials when their plate's already full. County commission, they vote on like 100 to 200 items every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. That's a lot of research. That's a lot of staff time. That's a lot of, questions and research and data and all of that stuff that goes into making those decisions.
Mhm.
You don't want to tear them away from that job that then they're not ready and are voting willy-nilly on things because they're out busy trying to promote other people to get into office. I want them to focus on their job,
because then they kind of fall into that camp a little bit of governing for elections and not governing, even though it's not their own election. They're like governing for elections versus governing for the people.
Right. It's putting party above the constituents, and we don't want that.
No.
We want them to hold our values in the way that they vote, but not necessarily. Like I said, I just don't think it's their job.
No, it's not their job, and so keep that in mind, and don't ask them for it. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Do whatever you want, but that's what we think.
Don't have an expectation of them.
Yeah.
Of doing that. And so I just want to kind of go back to Delray Beach for a second because Rob Long. I don't know what seat he held. I don't see that here.
I can't remember.
What
a lot of things to try to shove in this little brain today. This time of life.
So actually, let me see if I can find that.
To ask you about curriculum, I can tell you what the best math curriculum and the best science curriculum and the best language arts curriculum is. But I don't remember what seat Rob Long is. Sorry, guys.
As of right now in 2026 in Delray Beach, Angela Burns is up for election. Yes. That's seat 4. And then seat 2.
Oh, yeah. They go by numbers. That's the other reason I can never remember.
Seat 2 right now running is Julie Malaka and Francis Dolores Ringel is running. And I don't know who any of those people are.
I don't either.
So. That's just.
Is that Rob Long's seat too?
I think Rob Long is seat 2.
Does Angela Burns have an opponent?
That's seat 4, and no, she's running unopposed currently. It looks like.
Interesting.
So.
All
I
right.
haven't talked to my Delray Beach contacts in a while. Maybe I'll make a couple phone calls and see if I can find anything that's
Dixon dirt. No, I'm just kidding.
Finding out what the 911 is.
The T
or the 411.
The 411.
411.
The 911.
Man, we shouldn't do things 2 nights in a row.
I know. Struggle busing, man. I know. I was leaving, and my kids were like, "You're leaving again?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's all they're fine. They're fine. They're used to they understand." But they were like, because I haven't. I mean, during campaign season, I'm gone a lot of nights, but it's not campaign season, so they're like, "What is this?" And I was like, "It's not that much." I mean, I was like,
Bobby is popular.
Mommy is something. Oh, popular is the word, but sure, we'll roll with popular. Popular. Okay, so should we talk about redistricting?
Yes.
All right, let's go. Okay,
so Governor DeSantis did a press conference here yesterday in Palm Beach County at I think it was Palm Beach State College.
He did it here in Palm Beach County.
He did.
It's so interesting.
It is very interesting.
So when the governor does pressers in places, there's a reason he chooses that place. It's not just like he closes a map and picks a spot. Like there's a reason. It has to do with what he's signing. It has to do with what the future may be, what the subject matter is. So it's redistricting affects the whole state, but why Palm Beach County?
Right. And so it wasn't clear in his presser why he chose Palm Beach County. But we have some ideas of
Some
why.
guesstimations.
And like I said, we're not, like these are just kind of rumors and ideas that are kind of floating out there in the rumor mills. And, I just like to keep people informed of the scuttlebutt type
The
of
scuttlebutt.
just of what and not for nothing, the whole Caruso appointment, like, we knew that 6 months ago.
We knew it a lot. We knew that was coming.
I'm like, oh yeah, that was back in February.
That was a while ago.
I kind of knew that was coming. But so it's very interesting how you wait for the politics to kind of play out,
and it doesn't mean it always will. Because there was
No.
a moment where we thought Caruso was going to be lieutenant governor.
right.
That
And
didn't happen.
then it was kind of like, well, is that a good move for him? Politically, would that be a good move for him? My thought process is no. I think once he would have gotten to be lieutenant governor,
There's nowhere to go from there.
There really wouldn't have been anywhere for him to go, and then it would have been really hard for him to come back county. I think for him to be able to get good results. Not saying that he's not a good campaigner and all of that kind of stuff, but I think him showing and getting his feet wet and being able to do the job and being able to show the county what he can do really benefits him in this position than if he was to do something like lieutenant governor. This kind of just prolongs his career here, and in his wheelhouse. It's definitely in his wheelhouse. So this wasn't just a random appointment of somebody that DeSantis liked. This is actually a good Republican that has the experience of knowing what the job entails and what needs to be done. So I think that that's really important to know. So in this presser is that it was talked about redistricting in Florida, of how the census was off because, of that it happened just before the pandemic. And then there was a lot of residency changes to red states right after the census. So you're talking between 2021 and 2024, there were,
Probably 1 million people that moved to Florida.
Yeah.
At least.
And so then it's like, we're not really properly represented because our, population outnumber the number of representatives that we have. So it goes by Congress, and so DeSantis said that he knows that we were probably shorted at least one seat, if not two or more. And so if we're able to redistrict, and in my understanding, and based on what he said, and I only listened to the press conference, one time, so please forgive me if I miss anything, or please go back and watch it for yourself, and so you can have your own understanding of it, is that this is something that's already through. So the gerrymandering of states and their congressional maps has already through the process of going through the Supreme Court. They're looking at having that on the docket probably this
because of race gerrymandering. So
Correct.
Real quick for our audience, there's gerrymandering is when, I'm sure most people know what this is, but just as a quick note, gerrymandering is when the lines of the map are drawn in favor of one party or another, and it's been done since the second. I was listening to someone else give the history on this, basically since the second president. So it's been done for over 200 years. So gerrymandering has happened, and it's named after a guy whose name was Jerry. So I can't remember the last name, but Jerry something, and that's why it's called Jerry. Not gerrymandering, but gerrymandering, which I hear mispronounced a lot. Not by us, but by people. And so the Democrats have been doing this. I mean, I'm sure everyone knows this, but the Democrats have been doing this forever. That's why there are states like, we'll zoom out and go federal for just a hot second. There are states like Maryland, like Rhode Island.
Illinois.
No, not Maryland. Is it Maryland? Maryland? Illinois? No, some of them, that still has a Republican. There are some states, there's 5 or 6 states that have 0 Republican representatives from the state.
Oh,
so
I see what you're saying.
Massachusetts, Vermont, Rhode Island, and even though people think, it's all Democrats, no, 40 to 45% of the state went for Trump So 40 to 45% of the people in that state are probably Republican or lean Republican and have zero Republican representation in Congress. So they have managed, and then in bigger states like Illinois, California, New York, they have they have gerrymandered the districts so much where they've squeezed all the juice. They've squeezed every Democrat district that they possibly can. For the most part, there might be a few more that they can find, but the Republicans have not been doing that. And that's what brought this forward. This conversation was like both the census, the shorting of representatives at the federal level from the census, from like really California and New York probably should have each lost 1 to 2 more seats, and those should have gone to Florida and Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So that, and then like Jessica said, the influx. So to kind of give you guys that background of how this kind of conversation started bubbling up, started with Texas, and I'm sure everyone's watched the federal where Texas is trying to pass new maps to carve out some more districts and say, hey, you know what, the Democrats have been doing this forever. We've just been playing nice when we're in power. We're in power now. We're not going to play. Cutesy time is over.
Cutesy time is over.
Cutesy time is over, to quote Dan Bongino. And
I really miss.
I miss him.
I miss him.
Being
Sorry.
the chatty. Me too.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm a Rush baby. And
me too.
I call my babies Bongino babies.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So they were Bongino babies. Because we always every day Dan Bongino on. Anyways, yeah, sorry. It's not cute. Time is over.
Yeah.
And so Republicans are like, you know what? We have the power. Let's take it. And I'm fine with that. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm so tired of us just being pansy-wandy, waspy Republicans. No offense, wasps.
We care about their feelings. Why do we care about their feelings?
No, we care about process. This is not the process.
Right.
This is not right. We're above what they do. They do that. They go low. We go high, to quote Michelle Obama. Unfortunately, that's what Republicans have done. But Democrats don't do that. They take the power and they beat the crap out of us with it. And we get the power and we just stick the sword in the sand and go, let's shake hands. And I'm so sick of it. Sick of it.
What did Daniel say? What do I do with this?
What do I do with this? That's exactly it. The Republican, what do I do with this power? So finally, Republicans are showing the cojones to say we're going to wield the power that has been given to us by the people, duly elected by the people. So supermajority states like Texas and Florida are going to squeeze some juice. We're going to squeeze some seats.
Yeah.
So where is the most opportunity? And we're not going to talk any lines and we're not going to make any predictions because we do not want to get ourselves in trouble with anything. But generally, where are the Democrat strongholds that we could squeeze juice from? Palm Beach County. Broward. Miami-Dade. So where are we going to get some seats? Hopefully. We'll see.
So it's interesting because, Daniel just asked if it was because Caruso got appointed that's why DeSantis was here. But he mentioned him, but he didn't talk or anything of that nature. So I don't think that's quite the case.
We think it's because Palm Beach County is going to get finally some attention from the state.
Yeah. So,
we're not the redheaded stepchild anymore.
So, and it was Uthmeier.
No offense, redheaded stepchildren.
So Uthmeier was at the press conference
Uthmeier.
too.
Such a fun word.
I know, I love that name. So Uthmeier was at there too, basically saying.
And who is Uthmeier for our audience?
Oh, he's our attorney general, our state attorney general. So he was saying like how this is going through the Supreme Court of the gerrymandering based on race.
Oh, yeah. So that's the race. That was what I was going to get to.
Yeah.
So there's been this thing where they base it off race. So if you look at our maps, you can definitely... They've talked about this from the dais at the county commission where they've talked about the race districted districts for...
They cut out the whole center of the county in Delray and Boynton to pick up all of the minority communities.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like when you look at the, like School Board 7, okay? School Board 7 is a Democrat stronghold. It's a D plus 35. That's how gerrymandered it is.
So what they do, they just take that pen and they're like, oh, there's minority neighborhood, and here's minority neighborhood, and here's minority neighborhood. And so the districts look like this.
They look worse than that.
It's crazy. People ask, like, can you give us the boundaries of this district? And I was like, nope, because they literally, the lines like go like this.
So you have School Board 7, and then you have County Commission 7, which is a D plus 31.
Goodness gracious.
So it's like, how is that equal representation when it's like, when you look at the surrounding areas are becoming more and more Republican. So it's like, it's kind of one of those things that just kind of make you scratch your head and go, like, I don't know. There's a lot of people in Delray that, lean Republican. There's a lot of people in Boynton that lean Republican.
There's a lot of people in Boca that lean Republican.
Yeah.
And Boca, so Boca does have where we have Peggy and stuff, but because of our district, the congressional district is lumped in with Broward's, Boca, for the life of it, cannot get a Republican congressperson because we're lumped in with the blue.
And Lighthouse Point and Broward always get screwed.
Lighthouse Point, Highland Beach, not Highland Beach. Yeah, Highland Beach,
Yeah.
Lighthouse Point, Highland Beach. Even the coast, so the coastal area was much more conservative. What are some of the other little ones out there? The little towns along the coast. Anyway,
Ocean Ridge.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've lived in Florida since I was 5, and we've never had a Republican congressman representing us ever. And which is fine. We're just kind of used to it. We're like, this is what it is, which means we get no appropriations.
So
which some Democrats will get appropriations.
So
but.
based on what the political talk is that they this is going through the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court should rule this as that this is,
you can't gerrymander based off of race.
Correct.
You can just gerrymander for the fun of it.
Right.
I don't know. We'll see.
It can be race. You can't have race be a determining factor
when
based on
districts.
When based on representation.
Yes.
So
it just has to be pure voter registration.
Right. And it should be based on
population.
It should be based on population. And so,
citizens and permanent residents.
Correct.
Actually, should just be citizens because those are the voters.
Based on that, Uthmeyer is already up and running with letters and everything to be able to, once that ruling comes down, that they can start to make those changes in Florida.
So it'll call a special election if it doesn't happen during session.
Well,
not special election, special session.
Special session. But they're looking at starting in January to be working.
Because that's when our session starts. So just so everyone's aware, since we're getting creeping towards the end of the year here, I can't believe I'm saying that. I mean, still got some time. Mm-hmm. But session this year, because it's a non-election year, session will start the beginning of January.
Right. And then
beginning of February, beginning of January.
I think it's January.
It's January.
And so it's interesting because once you change that, then you have the opportunity to change your county commission districts, your school board districts, all of that can change. And so if Palm Beach County is the epicenter for that, that is just huge for us Republicans here in Palm Beach County. It really gives us an opportunity to have good Republican representation, and it will give us the fuel that's needed to turn Palm Beach County red.
Right. So, yes, exactly. So it's going to trickle down. Yeah, it's going to trickle down to everything that's districted. I don't know if it'll hit the cities. I think the cities draw their own districts.
Right, and they have to stay within their city limits. So that's based on city charter.
Yeah, but it'll go all the way down to county and school board.
Yeah.
County, school board, state house, state senate, all of these things. So everything that we see, the whole chessboard that we've been talking about for the last couple of months, last episode, and then even up into June when we were kind of dancing around who's running, what might be happening. That whole chessboard could be completely upended.
And if it divorces us from Broward, that moves everything in our favor too.
Yeah.
Because you have Polsky seat, which is Senate 30, which, is just a small sliver of the west side of Boca Raton.
And east. Yeah. She's my district. It goes up to Clintmore.
Where does Berman end?
Clintmore.
Oh, it ends. Berman's ends at Clintmore. Okay,
I think it's Clintmore or St. Andrews.
Yeah, so it's
one of those. So not St. Andrews, your motto.
So Boca, as it's turned more red, and I probably have the numbers here somewhere as far as what I think Boca is an R.
I think it's an R+4.
I was going to say R+5.
I think one of those.
So Sassy Gal might have
Sassy Gal, you got that
information right at the top. Oh wait, I got it. No, wrong paper. Anyway,
point being is that just Polsky is my district.
But bigger
most of it is in Broward.
Is in Broward, and then you have CD23
Glades.
Oh, it's Glades. See,
it is a sliver, so it's not as big of a sliver up to Clintmore. It is Glades, but it is about half of Boca. Glades is about
so it splits Boca Raton in half.
Yeah,
which makes no sense.
No,
So, oh yeah. So last I have and these may be a couple months old. Is Boca Raton is an R+10. It's an R+10.
Oh, see, exactly. So we should have some Republican representation. More.
And we have none.
We do. We have Peggy.
Well, I meant
and Gloria Branch.
I meant like
at Congress.
I meant Congress.
Oh, yeah, no, we don't. And it'd be great if our state senator was Republican as well. Like, come on, let's get it. But we at the last cycle when that seat was up, the Republican won in Boca.
Yep.
Lost in Broward.
Yep.
So if we could, separate ourselves from Broward a little bit in our districts, that would be really
good. Or
good.
at least have it where it's more of the conservative area of Broward and not so much of Broward.
Yeah.
You know,
it's going to be so basically the point is pay attention because candidates are going to be a shuffling, and that also means it becomes open petition season.
Oh yeah.
So right now, if you want to sign a candidate petition, you have to live in the district and be a registered voter. But once redistricting becomes a thing and they've said, okay, we're redistricting and we're in the process, you can sign any candidate in the state of Florida's petition. You can just travel around and sign petitions. So I always like that.
And then it's like until the map is set, is that it gets very confusing for just your everyday person because they're like, what's going on?
And especially if it's a tight one. So normally this happens in 2020, 21, 22. It's a process. The census is in 2020. Then the maps start getting processed and talked about in 21 and 22. So there's time for this to happen. This has got to happen now because we've got elections next year and our qualifying is in June.
Right.
So and our session's from January till March. Although, maybe they'll do an extended session. Who knows? It'll be a party up in Tallahassee. So they're going to have to get it done. And it's going to be a very short turnaround time from when the maps are solidified to qualifying in June.
Yep.
It's not a long time for people to organize themselves and figure out where. Because, you can run for. So that's the other thing, too. It's just you have to live in the district that you're going to represent for the most part. The laws are for the state of Florida is you have to, if you want to run for state house, and I believe Congress also, you don't have to live in the district when you file or get elected, but you have to move there within a certain amount of time.
Right.
So
once you're elected, you have to
have a residence in that district. Ideally, you want
an address.
Or an address. A residential address. Has to be a residential address.
Yes.
I don't think it can be a commercial address.
No.
So, if you live in a district that you've lived there forever and you're running in it and then all of a sudden you get districted out to a different district, you're going to have to either shift or move or all kinds of stuff. So candidates need to be watching what's going on. Don't just think, because it was this way it's now set for 10 years. Nope.
Right.
The game is just shifting.
Right. And it just kind of shows how much 2020 taught us so much. I am really, I hate the fact that 2020 happened so many things with COVID and the election and, everything else. But it really shined a spotlight on how corrupt and just gross that the Democrat leadership is, because it really you really got to kind of see exactly what they are willing to do for the money and power over America. And so I'm thankful in that aspects is, everything kind of happens for a reason. And so it kind of gave people like DeSantis, who has nothing to lose, he's honest. He wants to run for president, more power to him. If he's able to do that or be on a ticket, he could be, vying for vice president, whatever.
Or attorney general. I think I'd rather have him as Attorney General than I would for anything else.
Oh, my God,
I think he would go in, and I think it would be right in his wheelhouse.
Yep.
As far as, he doesn't have to be
great.
a super politician-y because he's okay, so it's calling a ball, balls and strikes. He's not the best, debater. He's not the best. He's just not. He's not the best person. He's not going to walk into the room and ever be like Trump. It's just not who he is as a person, and that's okay. It's his personality. But he does know how to, kick indoors and take names. And he knows how to handle the media. And he knows how to, just bulldog his way into what he wants. And I think as an attorney general, I think he would do a phenomenal job doing that. And if we are lucky enough, God willing, to get another Republican administration after this one, I think he would be able to continue and do more even than what Pam Bondi's doing.
And the point that I was trying to make is that all of this highlights stuff. So like this is the most transparent our government has ever had to be.
Dude, things are being talked about on X that are then being put into policy place.
Right.
Like it's like people are like, oh, Trump should send in the National Guard into DC to clean it up on X. And then like a month later, Trump's on there. Thank you for your attention to this matter. The National Guard's gone in. Like we're all like, what? And I know we don't usually talk about federal. We're DV.
Right.
It's there's a tie-in though because of what's happening with the redistricting and what happens with all of that kind of trickles down into what we see now. So and we're discussing our governor and where he might go next. So it definitely applies to like local.
Yeah,
that would be phenomenal.
And so, like I said, he doesn't have anything to lose. So why not just show what Republicans can do while they're in office
with power, with the sword,
right? As Daniel says, with the sword.
Use it.
And I think that's going to be a really strong, it's going to be a really strong precedent then going forward, because then it's like, well, Ron DeSantis did it. Why can't, our next governor do it? Why can't, So I think it sets us up for a lot of success. And the fact is that we're going to get, I just have a feeling, and I'm usually not wrong about these things, but I really think that Palm Beach County is going to be like a main focus for 2026. I really do. I just think that we're going to get a lot of attention here.
Which is good and bad.
Which is very good and can be very bad. Exactly.
We have to keep our heads and not think with our emotion, guys.
Yes.
Guys.
Yes. And this is an opportunity for Republicans to show good governance and good candidates and good conversations and
good leadership, like from our party leadership, and opportunity for putting the right people in the right place to do the right thing at the right time. It's important.
Exactly.
Part of being a leader is not just like willy-nilly letting people do things or like saying what should or dictating. It's really recognizing who people are, what they bring to the table, and making sure that encouraging them to continue doing that and giving them opportunity to do that. And I'm really not sure that we're going to see that in the Palm Beach County Republican leadership, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I hope so.
We have an opportunity.
We have an opportunity too, and I'd really like to see it happen.
Yeah, and I think that we have, from these special elections that we have going on, it's just
a good way to pulse, like get our feet wet.
Yeah,
see what's going on.
It's like
work some of the kinks in our election operations process.
If this happens, it could break through our little blue wall that we have that is like up the 95 corridor from north of Boca to West Palm Beach. If we could split that in half and let go of a lot of the Democrat stronghold there, that would be huge. You would see changes in our municipalities. You would see changes in your HOAs, like all of that kind of stuff trickles down, and
it's trickling down. But I do think it's also trickling up.
Exactly. That was exactly what I was
sorry. Did I steal your thunder?
I said
thunder stealer.
And the thing of it is that it's supposed to trickle up.
I think it kind of is, because if we look at Boynton,
yes,
and we look at what's happening in Boynton. Boynton is really like, I talk about Boynton. We talk about Boynton a lot, and we have shout out to Commissioner Turkin on. We had him on, and it was. Again, if you're new to our show, welcome. But also go back and watch the episode with Commissioner Turkin if you have time. It was really, he had a lot of really good insight. We did talk a bit about Boynton, so if you're not from Boynton, you might not be that interesting, but we tried to keep it on a lot, just how we can take what Boynton is doing and apply for local politics and how that works in the carryover. And they've got she's an NPA, but she leans more conservative as far as fiscal and like responsibility. She's doing a great job as the mayor.
She's doing a great job.
She's doing a great job. They have great commissioners. They have a great city manager. Like, they are an example of a city that is really trying to pull themselves together and
the city commission meetings have been so informative and so raw that it's so good, and the public comments are good. Like, you can just really see what they're trying to pull together here in Boynton, and the beautification that they're trying to make sure that happens, and to
the businesses they're trying to bring in so that they can provide more things for the community through business taxes and not raise taxes in their community, so that they can make their
smart development.
That's what I meant. That's the word, smart development, that I was looking for. I knew there was another word.
Yeah. Smart development, redevelopment,
Big thing.
Focus on, like they want affordable housing. I recently moved to Boynton from Boca because of
traitor. I'm just kidding.
I lived in Boca for almost 20 years. So, it was a big decision to move out of Boca for sure. And if I didn't have the political knowledge that I have, I probably would have stayed in Boca forever. But I saw what was happening in Boynton, and I was like, ooh, this is a really good opportunity to get into a different community and kind of see what can happen. And so I picked, I picked the house that we live in because of the house itself. But then when I looked at the political outlook of it,
only us weird people are like, who is in charge of this area?
Yeah,
and that's what you should do.
I'm like, what's the precinct? How does it lean? It's
how are my neighbors gonna be?
I'm like, it's a D plus 20, and so I'm like,
Jessica's here. She is planting her red flag.
Yep. And I'm like, okay, how do I get rid of, how do I find out about the board and get rid of this management company? That's the thing, is it's like understanding where you live and understanding your power as a resident and being able to get involved, so it's like, the county or the city commission of Boynton talked about that they needed people on their board. So I'm going to start looking at like what board positions.
We talked about this a little bit last night at the JCRC, and we've talked about it before, but again, if you're new or just want to hear it again, because we like to hear ourselves. No, I'm just really don't. I'm going to be honest, confession time, I don't watch our episodes because I hate the sound of my voice. I'll listen to a little bit here and there, and I'll like go back and stuff, but if I sit and listen to it, it makes my anyway. So I'm sorry, everyone. But can't remember what I was gonna say now. Oh my god, what was I saying?
I don't know. You hate the sound of your own voice.
No, what was I saying?
Hearing us repeat ourselves about getting involved in HOAs.
Yes, HOAs. Okay, so and boards, because boards. Yeah. Okay, so boards. The secret underbelly of government, local government, are the community boards and the HOA boards.
Yep.
So if you live, like I live, again, obviously everyone knows I live in Boca. There's not a lot of HOAs, but there are a lot of community boards. But if you live in an HOA, the HOAs, your HOA is most likely a part of a greater HOA organization. There's Delray Alliance, there's Cobra for Boynton. And so what that means is your elected HOA members elect a representative from their board to go sit at these meetings, which are not political, so to speak, but they are political, especially ones like Cobra. Cobra has last Cobra meeting I was at, they went over their finances. They have like $80,000. And they use that money to hire lobbyists and to launch lobbying teams from the populace to go to Tallahassee, to go to the county commission and lobby for what they want. So what they want oftentimes is what the body represents and what the body brings forward. And if the body is heavily left-leaning, then that is what is voted on. The only way to change that is by us Republicans getting involved in these boards. So both the HOA. So if you live in an HOA, I strongly, highly recommend you ask your HOA, are we part of an HOA association like Cobra or Delray Alliance? How do I get on the HOA board? Because, again, we had a woman approach this very nice lady last night. If you're watching, shout out. I didn't catch her name. I'm so sorry. But she asked how asking about maybe considering running for an office, but she lives in unincorporated areas. So she's more limited on offices she can run for. And we suggested, do you live in an HOA? Run for your HOA board. A lot of Republicans are scared or hide or like just ignore the HOA. Oh, they're a bunch of liberal Democrats. Well, duh, because the liberal Democrats are the ones that go out and run for it and get elected.
Right.
So how are we going to change that if we don't actually do anything to change it? So there's that. And then the boards, as Jessica said. So there's in cities and in counties, there are, I think, in the county, there's like 60 boards.
Oh my God, there's so many.
So many boards. And there's so I sit currently on the, and for the county, I sit on the Solid Waste Authority Citizens Advisory Committee, which we essentially represent the residents to the board of the Solid Waste Authority, which is trash and recycling. And
We love our trash talk.
we love our trash talk, and we give our feedback from a residential mindset of what the board is considering doing. So if they're like, all right, we're going to be changing this, or this, we would like the feedback from the people to give the board a little bit more information from what the residents might be thinking. So that's what one board I sit on. I sit on the board the Advisory Commission on Women. I'm not sure what we do on that board. But I'm there representing the district and the commissioner on that board. But the point being is there's library boards, as Jessica just said. There's I know in like Boca
there's like art,
arts, public art boards. There's beautification boards. There's historical society boards. There's, I mean, goodness gracious. And through that, you get to know people in your community. You get to know the way the vibe and the fabric of the community, the way that the government works, because they will ask you to come and report potentially to them, to the city council or to the county commission, give a report. I have to go give a report on the advisory of women to the commission in a few months. And we have to give a report on data on how the status of women in the county. And so they want to know what we're coming, so like that's what you do. And so by doing that, I need to now know this information and be able to go talk to them at the county commission, and which is very a little nervous about that one. But the point is that I'll be sitting in a county meeting, which I do. But if I wasn't familiar with that, that would be my opportunity to then hear a little bit more. So it gives you another level of exposure to being involved in your community and local government.
Right. And, yes, we need to get involved, but also there's a representative, and I was trying to look it up, and I apologize. If you look on my Twitter or Facebook page, there was a representative that is actually going to do a bill to get rid of HOAs.
I don't know how I feel about that.
So
I have mixed feelings on that. It's
not so much about, he did say, like, if you have like condo type, it's a little bit, they'll have to figure out how to do that. But single family homes, is that these HOAs charge fees that then they're not really providing anything but like lawn maintenance.
So I do think there probably should be more oversight in how budgets are spent on HOAs and how what the fees are being used for.
Well, they've cracked down on a lot of that already. But still, it's like people don't even really understand what their HOAs do. There's not a lot of transparency there, but it's also that the residents don't really get involved either.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. So I'm not sure if the answer is to do away with them.
I'm like, let's go.
I don't know. I'm not sure if that's the answer. Again, I am like, what happens if you get rid of the HOA? Then all of the things that, who's going to maintain the pool?
Well, that's the thing, is that you have to,
Like, that's like the practical side. So if an HOA is disbanded and the residents don't have, there's no, it's like the and then what question. Okay, so the HOA is done away with. Now no one's managing the management company. No one's making the right, no one's in charge of this community that was built with a plan to have someone in charge. Like, I don't live in a community where we have a pool that needs to be maintained. Right. But if I did buy a home in a community where there's a pool or there's a clubhouse or there's things that need to be maintained, part of my deal when I buy into that is my HOA fees. And if that suddenly then the HOA fees go away and there's no HOA, who's maintaining that? So there has to be that's all I'm saying. There has to be an and then.
Right. Exactly. Plan. And so there's a lot of things that would need to be, considered. And I think it's just the power and oversight that they have over individual lives is what needs to stop.
I agree. And that's what I'm saying. I don't disagree that there needs to be more restrictions on there.
If it's just community maintenance and pool and, and then it's like I don't want to say a city fee, like I don't want to turn them over to the city per se.
Right. The
but-
city just should not take that.
Right,
that on.
exactly. So
Or the county.
So it's kind of like, well, this is the community structures that are in your area. This is what it costs to maintain them, and then it's split between the residents, and somehow that's managed. Whether that's state oversight or like
the state will just annex the property and kick everyone off and say we're building condos. No, I think that I don't disagree. I see where you're coming from, and I know there's a hot button topic for you personally. Specifically, you can watch that in our last episode if you want the background on that one. It's interesting. And I do think they have way too much power, I think, over people's lives. 1,000%. I am not disagreeing with you on that. I just am not sure. Again, we really are getting into this world of knee-jerk reaction of like, this is this, and this is bad, so do the whole thing away instead of saying, okay, well, what should we change in order to adjust it?
They shouldn't be allowed to like fine people. They shouldn't be allowed, like that should be like code enforcement. You know what I mean?
But code enforcement doesn't go into HOAs.
But that's the thing, is it's like but the HOA, like if the city of Boynton, isn't gonna, like what color your grass is, and then your HOA, like there was a thing, I watched a video, and it's on my X and my Facebook page, that a woman was jailed for 7 days because her grass was brown. She was thrown in jail. Her
Where?
HOA threw her.
See, that's insane. And again, let's not, the takeaway from the conversation should not be that Josie loves and wants HOAs. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying we need to proceed with caution when just saying.
We need to figure it out.
You need to figure it out. It needs to be addressed 1,000%.
Because these HOAs just have too much oversight and
too much power.
Too much control over people's everyday lives.
Yes.
It's like if you put your, if you put your trash can out at 5 o'clock because you're going out for dinner and don't want to have it out at 10 o'clock, my HOA would fine you. You can't have it out until 6 o'clock.
That's crazy.
So it's like, it's that kind of thing that it's like, really, like,
okay, Karen. Sorry, Karen.
Right. It's like, really, like, are you kidding me? You're gonna fine me because I put my trash can out at 5:45? Like,
That's crazy.
I don't understand the concept of that.
No.
But I don't mind paying for lawn, to have a nice community. I don't mind paying for, pool service. Those are just.
So there has to be a medium, a happy medium.
It has to be like, these are the standard things that HOAs can cover, and then they can't overreach on other things.
Yes.
And then and then it being based on like code enforcement or, like the same ordinances of your city. Your cities don't want, trash everywhere. There's ordinances to protect that. So,
yeah, exactly. And I think that there's, listen, this might be an unpopular opinion, or I guess what the kids say, hot take. Yeah. Like I think there are certain things that if an HOA has the prerogative to decide, these are the rules of our HOA. We don't want house colors painted turquoise. Right. We don't want roofs. Like, I do think that is the prerogative of an HOA. And when you choose to live in an HOA, you're agreeing to those rules when you choose to. Now, what happened with yours, that's insane. But I'm saying, like, what really, like, kind of bothers me a little is when people willingly decide to move into an HOA, and then when the HOA comes and says, hey, you can't paint your house that color, they're like, I can do whatever I want. Well, you chose to live. It's like living in a city. Like, I know certain rules about living in Boca that irk me, but I knew that when I moved in there. Right. Now, if I move in the city of Boca and they don't have those rules, and then they create those rules, that's a different story.
Right.
But like, when you knowingly move into a place and you're like, well, I'm really ticked off over, like, again, there's a difference between like the aesthetics of the community versus like the control of the garbage can at 5 o'clock. That's like, it's taking like this to the extreme. I'm saying, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with a community that has a certain level of standards on some things if people decide that they like, but finding people and throwing people in jail, that's extreme. Yeah. And then you can also have your house liened and foreclosed on if you don't pay your HOA fees.
Yeah, there was another one in the video too that was like, I went to sell my house or whatever and had no idea that the HOA put a lien on my house about a fee or something that I
insane.
didn't even know that I was charged for it. Like, it got lost in the mail or whatever, and it was just, oh, you didn't pay, so we're putting a lien on your house.
Yeah, that's insane. So
where it's like when the county like you cannot pay stuff and they will never do that. They won't kick you out of your house. They won't foreclose on you.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, so exactly. So I'm not disagreeing with the whole premise that HOAs need to have their
I love
be
the
taken
fact
down like 100 pegs or
I
so.
just find it interesting that I had this conversation that I'm like, we need to address this type of
You
legislation.
think people are listening to us?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's about me at all. I'm just saying that it's very, like, yes, I think it's gotten to a point where it needs to be looked at and it needs to be addressed.
I don't disagree.
Because it's kind of like the mafia. I literally told the management company, I'm like, this is worse than the mafia. You're saying like, if I don't pay you an additional $220, I don't have a place to live next week, and you don't care. Like when when the own language says that I didn't have to pay the fee.
Where was it? Okay, so I had a conversation with was it with you where someone? Oh no, it was Zapata in our last meeting.
Oh,
last episode where he said that someone was collecting the fees.
Yes.
Yeah, collecting the fees for application fees and never renting out the place because they made more money in application fees than they did renting
and then
it.
Just denying them without cause. You can deny people without cause.
Yeah.
So it's like you can just say, yeah, I don't want that person here. So you could have a Democrat stronghold HOA that looks up your party affiliation, and if you are a Republican, they could deny you, and there's nothing to stop them from doing it.
Dun, dun, dun. Stu.
They don't have to have cause. They can deny you for whatever reason.
Oh. I thought we had a dun 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 sound.
Dun, dun,
I mean, I could be over exaggerating a little bit, but
I mean, that could happen. It could. We don't know.
What's to stop them?
You're right. If there's no cause, there's no if they don't give a reason why you're denied.
Yeah, and then they get to keep your fee.
This is such a racket.
It's like, okay, you deny me, you're not giving me a reason why you're denying me, and you're keeping my fee.
Yeah. It's cuckoo bananas.
I'm like, that's so little, I'm like, I'm sorry, but if I don't get a service that I pay for, I want my money back, and I'm going to dispute it with my credit card company.
That's right. It's rock and roll.
So I'm just saying. These are things that we get to look at, and I'm really excited that more of our state representatives and things are looking at things like this and really starting to kind of pay attention because, again, of like what happened in 2020 has really like put a spotlight on things where people are more aware of what's going on. Like, people had no idea, like, USAID, like, what it was.
Whoa, Doge, man.
Yeah.
Let's go Doge.
It's like nobody had any idea. What do you mean? Like, I'm sorry, I do not pay for services that I do not get my money's worth. I don't. Like, why am I being forced to pay taxes or forced to pay things when you're not?
Taxation is. No, I'm just kidding.
Taxation is theft.
Income taxes.
Right.
Does anybody know the history of the income tax?
Fun
facts of the day.
What?
Prohibition.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah. So, fun fact, up until Prohibition in the 1920s, there was no federal income tax. The federal government was funded by taxation by what's it called when you tax things that come in, imports? Trump's thing. Tariffs. Thank you. Taxation it was tariffs and it was consumption on specifically alcohol was like the big one. And so there was like the Prohibition movement that wanted to ban alcohol from the country. And the biggest challenge that they faced was how was the federal government going to be funded? So they decided to levy an income tax and to all earning Americans to fund the federal government, and they were able to pass Prohibition. And then when Prohibition was repealed a few years later, when it was a hot disaster because you can't force people to give up things at the point of a gun, they just kept the income tax, and they were like, oh, we'll double dip. And that's the history of the income tax, and that's why it's theft.
Agreed. And
so it's my 2 cents on that.
And hopefully, they're going to abolish the IRS and everything else. I hope it happens.
Oh, we got a hope in one.
Yeah, and they're going to do away with property taxes. They should at least do away with homesteaded property taxes. And I think you should have to live here like 5 years or something before you get that.
Like own the home for 5 years? Mm-hmm. But there still should be like homestead. You still should have homestead. And then after 5 years, it goes away.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
It's like homesteaded like the
you're
cap.
paying
Your
like,
cap.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like if you move here or if you've proved residency for 5 years, you know, like even though you've rented, I don't think you should necessarily be penalized for that. But, you know, like, because we still have to fund things. We still have to fund fire. We still have to fund police
Roads
and
pipes.
infrastructure. You know, so what? We're going to turn that all over to our state government? I don't think
See,
so.
that's the problem. Like, nobody has. Again, we you can go back again if you're new and you want to. We have had the property tax conversation ad nauseum. You can. I don't want to bore you guys again, with it. But the question: everyone loves the sexy sound of no property taxes, but no one loves when they pick up 911 and pick up the phone and dial 911 and no one shows up because there's no money to fund the fire department or the 911 line or anything like that. And that's literally what our property taxes fund. They fund schools, they fund fire, they fund police, they fund roads.
Right.
So I have heard
that's not saying that our budget shouldn't be looked at. They shouldn't be scrutinized.
Absolutely.
All of that
I'm
kind
just
of
saying
stuff.
that in all of these conversations, we brought it up to many, many people, and not a single person has given a actual legitimate solution. So if you have a legitimate solution to how that can happen, we'd like to hear it. And it is not sales tax. So,
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
let us know.
Well, actually, in Palm Beach County, our sales tax revenue has went down because our growth is not increasing to the same level that it was. So we actually lost money on sales tax
That would make sense.
revenue because of that.
And people are leaving the state.
Oh yeah,
They don't like hurricanes or the heat.
right. I
Sorry.
didn't realize it was so hot.
I
here.
didn't realize that hurricanes come. And it's hot. It's really hot. Is it always this hot? Yes, Karen, it is. Yes, Linda. Sorry, guys. Yes, it is this hot. I mean, it is. I feel like it's a little extra hot, but I say that every year. I'm always
Yeah.
like, it's extra hot this year. But no, it's
No,
always,
it's
it's
just always
August.
hot. Yeah, it's just always hot. I love it.
Yeah. It's
I
just-
will say, like, one of the best things, like, I love living in Florida.
Me too.
I just do.
I do,
just
too.
do. I
I
just
really
love
do.
it.
I love living in Boca as much
Yeah.
as I yap about it. And that's why I do. That's why, because I care about it.
Yeah.
And I care about the area that I live in. And
I care about Palm Beach County in
I do
general.
too.
And in
Me too.
every aspects and every nook and cranny. It's like I've really invested myself here. I love where I live, and we have great communities. We have great people. No matter what side of the aisle that you're on. Like I don't run into situations where people are mean and nasty. I just don't.
Only the foreign visitors from New
Yeah.
York. From New York. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and it's like
I'm just kidding.
the drivers and all of that. You just look at their license plate and you understand things. But it's like
Avoid.
right. But for the most part, it's like it's been pleasant to live here for the last 20 years. I'm not gonna lie, and I just love Palm Beach County in general. So it would be very hard for me to leave the county. I love a lot of our different communities, Tiny Breezes and Village of Golf. We have all these cute little communities that are just really special, and I think that's what makes Palm Beach County really unique. And I think that Republican representation is really important because it really keeps that going.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps that basis, and I think Democrats, when they're in charge, they want to change things instead of just allowing things to evolve naturally. They push evolution, and it causes a lot of
Cirrus.
It causes a lot of the mayhem that we end up, like, how did this happen? And then it's like, because people were pushing evolution instead of really just letting things kind of happen naturally.
Yeah.
And go with flows.
All right.
So, any final comments, Josie? Anything you want to end with?
I would just say, follow us on our socials. Jessica's talk about that, but just keep an eye on. I feel like in the next couple of weeks when we have our next episode, all things will be different. I mean, I feel like things are changing very quickly, and we'd really like to keep bringing you the news. So please drop us a donation.
Yeah, please. $5 helps a lot. You can go to our website at wethelocalspodcast.com. Click down below. You'll be able to see the little donate button. just a couple dollars helps. We really appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe to our episodes. We do monetize through Rumble and YouTube if we get enough subscribers and enough viewers, so that also helps. So just make sure that you're subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting. If there's anything that you want us to talk about, anything you want us to address, please email us. You can email us at wethelocalsfl@gmail.com. If you're interested in sponsorships, you can email us as well. If you're a business, as Josie said earlier, you can you can advertise your business. If you are a candidate running for office, and this includes federal office, we will include federal candidates.
It's not an endorsement, but if you want a sponsorship and we can talk about, we can give you a spot depending on what your donation level is, then and advertise your campaign for you. As a sponsor of the show, not as an endorsement of the show. We don't endorse candidates.
That's
really,
correct.
Especially in Republican primaries.
Correct. And so, so that's an opportunity to help us as well. So check us out on Instagram at We The Locals FL. You can check us out on X at We The Locals FL. Facebook is We The Locals. Like I said, check out our website at WeTheLocalsPodcast.com. Have a great night, everybody, and be sure to stay local.
That's right.
See you in a couple weeks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Stu.